Chatterjee built his legacy in stages. Not all at once. Not in a single dramatic gesture. Across 50 years of professional life, one decision at a time, one learning cycle at a time, one relationship invested in at a time. He published research that other scientists built upon. He led manufacturing processes that made consumer electronics affordable for a generation. He helped develop educational technology still required in American high schools 3 decades later. He navigated a software transformation that saved his company hundreds of millions. He invested in companies that created thousands of jobs. He mentored executives who became CEOs, who now mentor the next generation. And he wrote this book. Each chapter building on the last. None of them wasted. Welcome to the final episode of the Winning Workspan podcast. Today we close with the question that changes everything. The question is one that Dr. Chatterjee says he asks every professional he coaches. At the beginning of their work together, and at the end. When your work span is over, what will have mattered? Not what will be on your resume, not what your final compensation was, not what your title was at the peak. What will have mattered? Most people, when asked that question sincerely, find that the answer they give is not the answer their daily choices are building toward. Today's episode is about closing that gap. Chapters 25 and 26 of The Winning Workspan, Giving Back and Your Legacy Workspan, and the conclusion that Dr. Chatterjee calls Designing Your Winning Workspan. This is the episode I'd ask you to listen to twice. Chapter 25, Giving Back to the Next Generation. Dr. Chatterjee opens with a provocation that lands differently at different career stages. By the later learning cycles of a workspan, your scarcest asset is no longer time. It is no longer network. It is no longer even energy. Your scarcest asset is pattern recognition. Decades of compressed experience, watching industries transform, watching strategies succeed and fail, watching people navigate their own learning cycles, distilled into a form of wisdom that no younger professional can acquire except through years they haven't had yet. And mentorship, the intentional transfer of that pattern recognition to specific people who can use it, is the highest leverage use of that asset. The math is striking when you think about it. A well-mentored leader carries your insight into rooms you will never enter, for decades beyond your own workspan. They make better decisions because of what you gave them. They help their own team navigate learning cycles more successfully. They go on to mentor the next generation, who were never in a room with you, but who benefit from a conversation you had. The compounding of mentorship is one of the few truly infinite returns in professional life. Dr. Chatterjee names a trap here that I find painfully recognizable. Hoarding. Not consciously. Almost never consciously. It's the senior professional who maintains relevance through information asymmetry, being the person who knows things others don't, rather than multiplying themselves through generosity. Who guards their network rather than introducing people within it. Who shares insights in rooms where they're the senior voice, rather than investing those insights in someone who will carry them further. Who fears that if they develop their successors too well, they'll become redundant. Dr. Chatterjee has a one-sentence answer to that fear. The professionals who hoard their wisdom finish their workspans with impressive resumes and small legacies. Maya is 60 now. She has been Chief Financial Officer for 9 years. Her company has grown fourfold under her tenure. She is on the board of 2 non-profit organizations and 1 publicly traded company. And she has mentored 14 finance professionals over the past decade. She knows each of them by name. She knows the learning cycles they struggled with. She knows where they needed someone to believe in them before the evidence was there. 3 of them are now CFOs themselves. One of them sent her a message last year. I made a decision last week that I wouldn't have had the courage to make without a conversation we had 5 years ago. I want you to know it changed the outcome for 30 people who report to me. Thank you. Maya read that message 3 times. And then she thought of something her mentor Sarah had said to her nearly 30 years ago over dinner. Stop asking what you should do next. Start asking what you want to build. She had spent 30 years figuring out what Sarah meant. And now she knew. Chapter 26. Your Legacy Workspan. Dr. Chatterjee's definition of legacy is worth stating carefully because it is more expansive than most people assume. Legacy is not a monument. It is not a named building or a prize. It is not being remembered. Legacy is the difference your workspan makes that continues after your workspan ends. His framework identifies 4 dimensions of legacy. Institutional legacy. The organizations, systems, practices, or products you built that continue to function after you leave. The process improvement that still runs 10 years later. The company culture you shaped that shaped the people inside it. The product that millions of people use without knowing your name. Human legacy. The people you developed, sponsored, or believed in who went on to do significant things. The employee you fought to promote when nobody else saw it yet. The mentee whose career you bent towards something better than they would have built alone. The generation of professionals whose work is shaped, however invisibly, by what you gave them. Intellectual legacy. The frameworks, models, ideas, or works that carry your thinking forward. This book is Dr. Chatterjee's intellectual legacy. The workspan frameworks, STEF, the 10 learning cycles, monkey management, are his ideas, now available to anyone who reads the book or listens to this series. They will outlast him. Community legacy. The civic, philanthropic, or social contributions that improve the world beyond your professional domain. The school board seat, the non-profit you built or funded, the community you invested in because you were a member of it. Now here is the insight that makes this chapter more than a nice sentiment about generosity. The research on life satisfaction in older adults across multiple longitudinal studies consistently finds the same thing. The most satisfied people at the end of long professional lives are not the ones with the highest peak compensation. They are the ones who can look back and point to something that exists because of them. The conversion from income to impact is not a sacrifice. It is an upgrade. The conclusion of the winning workspan is both a synthesis and an invitation. Dr. Chatterjee walks through all 5 components of the career operating system one final time. And for each one, he asks the same question. Have you designed this, or are you still letting circumstances design it for you? The 10 learning cycles. Do you know which cycle you're in and what you need to master for the next one? Are you developing the next cycle's skills 1 quarter before you need them? Or are you learning reactively, only when forced? The career architecture. Have you chosen your blueprint intentionally or inherited it by default? Does the architecture you're living match the architecture you want? If not, what would it take to begin the transition? The success equation trademark. Are you measuring yourself by what actually matters to you? Impact, fulfillment, and financial reward in the proportion that fits your values? Or by the external metric that's easiest to compare? The STEF framework. Which leadership dimension is your constraint? Is it getting deliberate development, or are you just hoping it improves with time? Monkey management trademark. What are you still carrying that you should have put down 2 cycles ago? Which obsolete skill, limiting belief or fear is riding on your back right now, slowing you down and taking up space that should belong to what comes next? These are not comfortable questions. They are not meant to be. They are the questions that, answered honestly and acted upon consistently, build a workspan worth having. The conclusion of the winning workspan is both a synthesis and an invitation. Dr. Chatterjee walks through all 5 components of the career operating system one final time. And for each one, he asks the same question. Have you designed this, or are you still letting circumstances design it for you? The 10 learning cycles. Do you know which cycle you're in and what you need to master for the next one? Are you developing the next cycle's skills 1 quarter before you need them? Or are you learning reactively, only when forced? The career architecture. Have you chosen your blueprint intentionally or inherited it by default? Does the architecture you're living match the architecture you want? If not, what would it take to begin the transition? The success equation trademark. Are you measuring yourself by what actually matters to you? Impact, fulfillment, and financial reward in the proportion that fits your values? Or by the external metric that's easiest to compare? The STEF framework. Which leadership dimension is your constraint? Is it getting deliberate development, or are you just hoping it improves with time? Monkey management trademark. What are you still carrying that you should have put down 2 cycles ago? Which obsolete skill, limiting belief or fear is riding on your back right now, slowing you down and taking up space that should belong to what comes next? These are not comfortable questions. They are not meant to be. They are the questions that, answered honestly and acted upon consistently, build a workspan worth having. Over 8 episodes, we have covered the full arc of a professional life. We started with the realization that most of us are managing careers of 40 years with frameworks built for 20. We mapped 6 career architectures and asked which one you're living intentionally. We walked the 10 learning cycles and the master skill of learning how to learn. We named the monkeys on our backs and built a framework for putting them down. We dissected the 3 irreducible jobs of any leader and the 3 archetypes that fail when one goes missing. We covered what the workplace actually requires and what a well-designed life looks like across decades, not just years. We looked clearly at the AI transformation and identified where your advantage lives. And today we closed with legacy. Here is what I want to leave you with. Dr. Chatterjee's book is an optimistic book. Deliberately. Not naively optimistic, not the kind that denies the scale of what's changing. But genuinely optimistic, the kind built on 50 years of evidence that people who invest in themselves, who keep learning, who build strong leadership capabilities and strong human relationships, who manage their energy as carefully as they manage their calendar. Those people flourish. Across technology waves, across organizational changes, across entire cycles of industry transformation. A 40-year workspan is not a burden. Slow, it is the single greatest asset most people will ever own. Greater than any house, any investment portfolio, any inheritance. Managed well, with intention, with continuous learning, with the frameworks you now have, it compounds into wealth, relationships, mastery, and meaning. So here is Dr. Chatterjee's question, one final time. The one he asks every professional he coaches. When your workspan is over, what will have mattered? Start designing for that answer. Today. Not when things settle. Not when the kids are through school. Not when the market recovers. Today. Because in the AI age, your greatest career asset is not what you know. It is your ability to keep learning what matters next. Thank you for spending these 8 episodes with the Winning Workspan trademark. You can find Dr. Pallab Chatterjee's book, along with the companion frameworks, scorecards, and tools for every learning cycle, at thewinningworkspan.com. That's winningworkspan.com. If this series has been valuable to you, please share it with someone who's navigating a career decision right now. The person who's wondering whether to make the move. The new manager who doesn't yet know what they don't know. The professional who's quietly anxious about what AI means for their future. They might need this more than either of you knows. This has been the Winning Workspan Trademark Podcast.